My pleasure to introduce Lawrence Last, the owner of Heesen Shipyard. Lawrence, thanks very much indeed for joining us. We met in Monaco, and you told me that before big business meetings, you always have an ice bath to get you invigorated and up for it. Have you had an ice bath today?
No, I took a cold shower.
Cold shower, okay.
But it's not the same.
Not quite the same. Slightly awkward,
So
but okay.
I will be a little bit slower today.
Brilliant. All right. Well, let's kick off this chat about your kind of journey with Heesen. First of all, if there's anyone here who's contemplating buying a shipyard themselves, what would your advice be to them?
If you buy it, I think you need to buy it good. I think buying a shipyard could be very appealing because of the image. And I think you need to look through that and look to how the business is performing, how much cash flow you need, and those kind of things. So I think it's a lot of fun buying a shipyard. It's probably easier than buying a yacht itself. But then the process started. I think when you buy a yacht, you have a lot of pleasure afterwards. When you buy a shipyard, you buy a lot of problems. So which needs to be solved.
Well, let's get into it then. I mean, why, what was your thought process? Why did you buy a yard and why Heesen?
I was not planning to buy a shipyard. So I heard about the opportunity and I think, hey, is Heesen for sale? Because I've been at Heesen. Of course, I've been to all the Dutch shipyards. And I was kind of impressed with their, let's say, manufacturing approach. I think they had a very nice, lean manufacturing approach, good facilities. But as an owner, I felt a little bit not taken care of, like you want, being treated as an owner. So I think that's very easy to solve. So I think I bought a very good functioning operational shipyard, which we're trying to make a little bit more sexy now.
Sexy. But just talk us through that process. I mean, I think you bought it quite quickly, didn't you? Did you? How was the due diligence?
Because there was already a sales process going on before, and there was a buyer, and then he was not able to get the finance in place, and I think the contract was subject to financing, so that collapsed. So they were looking, and there were a bit other buyers already in the negotiation. So I had to close in 5 weeks after the initial contact. So we used AI doing a little bit of due diligence, but obviously was very restricted. I felt Heesen was really the sellers were really looking for a secure deal. I put the money very quickly on the notary account in Holland, so that gave them a lot of confidence, and then we closed in 5 weeks. So I didn't thought about it.
It sounds like it was quite quick. So what do you know now that you didn't know then?
I mean, there were positive and negative surprises. What I learned is that I bought 2 companies. Initially, I thought I bought a shipyard, but what I learned is we have a very beautiful interior manufacturing facility in the east of Holland, which I didn't see when I bought the shipyard. So after buying the shipyard, I went to that factory and I thought, wow, this is amazing. It's a very nice, so we built all the interior in-house for all our yachts, very high class. I would not say craftsman people, but more artistic people are working there. So that was a very positive surprise. The issues, of course, Heesen went through a difficult time because of the Russian ownership and the boats which could not be delivered to the Russians, and so they had to sell the boat twice. And so that was all known when I bought it. I think we did a big restructuring in the first 6 months. We saved 17 million running costs, operational costs. So I think I'm very proud of that. So that means that if we build a yacht, the price per GT will go down because we reduced our total cost of, let's say, of running the company. And now we're launching a lot of new designs, which I'm personally involved, and it's like a product development process, which is really very nice to experience. What I'm learning is we have all engineering in-house. So we bring in the engineers in the beginning of the design process, which I think is very relevant for any product development process. So it's not that we design a boat and then we start engineering it. Just during the design, we engineer it. I'm impressed with the skills we have on that regard. Also on the manufacturing, I think, I don't know, have you been in the shipyard? We have a clock in every shed, which is counting down. So at the moment, you know, there's no hours anymore. The water should go in there and the boats need to be ready. So I think we are very good in that. So it's a very nice operational machine. And again, I think what we were missing at Heesen is a little bit understanding the yacht experience. Obviously, people who have been in Os in the Netherlands, it's not the most exciting place. And where yacht owners are there. So what we're also trying is we're trying to be at the places where the yacht owners are. So the yacht owners are in Dubai, in Monaco, in St. Barth, in the United States. And I think we need to understand that world in order to please the customers and to give the potential clients, you know, the feeling I want to belong to the Heesen, let's say, family. Yeah. And that's what we created.
You mentioned there about how you save lots of money initially. Just expand on that a bit more. I mean, talk us through kind of what you've done since you've taken over.
It's not only in a shipyard, but I'm from the packaging industry. If you sell packaging, your margins, you know, you're selling products for a few cents. So it's all about procurement, efficiencies, and those kind of things. So any euro you can cut out your operation is at the end is a bottom line item. So with that approach, we approach the shipyard. So all what I call the bullshit, the things which are in a company and not only in the shipyard, which and don't belong there or are not really necessary for the operations, we cut out. So on any item, you know. It means, I can give you some examples. We had security, which cost us in all the sheds 800,000 euro. Then we look back the last 10 years, what has been stolen, and the security has been put in place because one moment someone stole an item of 10,000 euro. Then we put in place security, which cost us 800,000 euro per year. So we said, okay, it's better that they steal 10,000 euro from you than you pay every year 800,000 euro. So those kind of things we are talking.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. So what's talk us through your vision for Heesen. Where are you planning to take it and sort of the business model?
Yeah, so it's not a secret that our market is between, I would say, the 500T and the 2000 GT, and while our spec boats, which we'll continue to build, so we're not changing that business model because I think that's really the strength of Heesen, that we build those spec boats because you can build very efficiently. You always have a nice utilization of your shipyard. But we're going to focus a little bit more on the bigger GT because I think the market in the 500 GT, we compete a lot with the Italian shipyards, which is a more competitive market. I think for us, the market above the 500 GT, let's say from 1000 to 2000, is more appealing to us. So that's a change we are making. Then Heesen originally manufactured aluminium boats for the Russian market. People want to go fast. I don't think that demand is there. So all the new yachts we're launching are steel yachts. We stopped with in-house aluminium welding. So the reason why we continued launching aluminium yachts is we wanted to keep the aluminium production, the welders, busy. So we launched an aluminium yacht. I spoke to many clients and they bought an aluminium yacht and they said, yeah, now I know what an aluminium yacht versus a steel yacht is, but I should have bought a steel yacht. But our yacht was in aluminium and it was available, so they bought that yacht. So I think we will still build aluminium yachts if there's a request of a client, but we're not launching, you know, I think that aluminium fast, you know, high consuming fuel is not really the future. So that's a change. Then we are targeting, that's also new for Heesen, we were known for kind of a sportive style. So we were attracting one type of group of clients in that segment. And what we're trying to do now is to come up with designs which are appealing to the different kind of clients into that segment where we are active, let's say between the 50 and 80 meter segment. So that means we are designing an explorer. We're working on a very kind of an entertainment boat. I call it a residence explorer. We go to a yacht, which, we are introducing a yacht which is more focused on the classic modern yacht owner. So we try to identify what kind of owners do you have in the segment, and we're trying to come up with designs for the different group of owners, which I think is also.
I mean, what are you kind of hearing from these owners in terms of what they're after? Are there any kind of common themes that people are talking to you about currently?
Yeah, first of all, I mean, going back to you bought a shipyard, one of the nice things is I'm meeting a lot of interesting owners, and that's by itself. And I think in the segment where we're selling boats, because I think it's more difficult to sell a boat, let's say, between the 20 and 50 meter. Those owners are much more complicated to deal with than the owners we are dealing with. So we are dealing with, I would say, amazing owners, which in general just want to have a simple life. They try to simplify their life, and also the yachting operation. So I'm meeting a lot of owners. So some people like round interiors, other people like square interiors, some people like, let's say, a swimming pool, and other people don't like a swimming pool. But there is one team, I think they're all, and they have the passion, to be out and to enjoy life. And I think that's the nice, that's the product what we are selling. The product we are selling is having fun. And every owner has a different definition, but the themes are spend time with your family, spend time with your friends, explore, discover, being outside. That's where all the owners are looking for. And that's obviously very nice to participate in that process.
You mentioned the word fun there. I mean, are you doing this for fun, or are you doing this to make money?
I think making money is fun. Losing money is not fun. So I think it's a combination. I think, also in my prior work, I never considered my work as work. And also my children are saying that to me. So I traveled the world. I was in different time zones. I was flying to the United States and didn't take a shower, go directly in meetings. And because this is passion. And I think everything, if you do something with passion, and then you succeed, then you have success, then it's fun, and then you make money. I think that's a consequence of what you're doing. I see the same, my experience the same now. So my involvement at Heesen is a lot with the product development, the creative side of the business, which I really love. So if I have a conference call scheduled and we start talking about the new designs with the design company and with the engineers, I don't look at it as work. For me, it's like, oh, nice, I have the meeting. I'm happy. Where are we now with the design process? And I study in advance, the progress and results, and it's a lot of fun. So no, for me, but I think if your work is becoming like, sometimes I look to other jobs, which I was in a hospital and then, or in an office building, and people going in every morning 8 o'clock and they go out 5 o'clock and they're always sitting in the same office. That's not something for me, So I like more dynamic lifestyle, and I think the yachting industry is providing that. But it requires also a lot of hard work and discipline.
So how hands-on are you in terms of the shipyard? How involved are you on a daily basis?
The first 6 months a lot. So I've been involved a lot in trying to create a new culture in the company. I call it the new Heesen. And I think, especially in the beginning, because if you want to change something in a company, there's always a lot of resistance. Nobody likes change. Everybody likes to keep everything the same. So you really have to push it in the beginning, and that's what I did. And then I did it a lot, and people always, at the end of the day, then especially if they feel that the future is vibrant, exciting, they buy into that very quickly. So I would say, I think the organization, the people who are working for Heesen have bought into the new, so let's say in the new Heesen. So that job has been finished, and again now I'm more dealing, some owners want to meet the owner of a shipyard. I had 2 days ago, an owner sending me an email, hey, I was disappointed. I was hoping to see you at the shipyard because those people think he's Dutch. He's living around the corner at the shipyard. So if I come, he will come by. But I didn't know that he was there, and I don't live in Holland. So people, of course, want to meet the guy who's behind the shipyard. And also, we have a lot of things in common. I had a meeting with a client, and he was flying back with his private plane to Milan, and I had to go to Milan. So I said, can I join you? So, you know, and then you become kind of friends because, and he was doing ice baths too, by the way, the guy. So you have a lot of similarities. So it's a very nice way of meeting people and being engaged with them.
You mentioned things that you've changed there. Give us an example of something that you changed within the culture of the company, or you know, mechanically or whatever at the company at the start.
I think what we changed, I think a traditional Heesen has been really depending a lot on, let's say, brokers bringing in clients and telling them what to do and not to do. And I think as a shipyard, you know, you need to understand your owners and because if you develop a product, you need to understand, you know, so we were developing products more from the manufacturing side. So as I explained, with the aluminum hulls. And I think you need to turn it upside down. You need to look, where is the market looking for? What kind of designs? What is the owner? What kind of owners belong there? And then you build that yacht and you make sure your production outfit is suited for that kind of product which you need to launch. Otherwise, you produce a product which the market really doesn't want. You know, so I think understanding and bringing in captains, crew in the processes, I think also has changed a lot. So we spoke about, for example, this morning I was speaking about the experience of a tender going to a yacht. I think that's a completely underestimated topic in our industry. Because we have all the safety and class rules, etc. But the most dangerous operation of a yacht is, especially with rough seas, is coming from a tender onto the yacht. And nobody's looking into that, because I don't know if you have experienced that, but that boat, you know, is the back there that is going up and down, because this is the central point, and then the tender is coming there, and the waves and splashing, and people which are not very, you know, some people are not able to jump, you know, on the swimming platform, etc. So those kind of things is, and then if you design a boat, and then you design a boat with a 6 or 7 meter tender, so the guy is flying in with his private jet, driving in a nice car to the port, and then this dinghy, 7 meter, 6 meter dinghy is there, and brings you to the boat, and the wife is already, the hair is wet, and all the water is splashing over them, and then they have to jump on that swimming platform. That's not called, you know, luxury experience. So that's what I'm trying to bring to the engineers, to the design, you know, to understand, you know, and also on the water there's wind. And if you're on anchor, the wind is always coming from the front, you know, it's very simple. So if you have a fly bridge and you have no wind protection, it means that if there's windy, you cannot use that fly bridge. So most of the time it's windy, especially if you cruise. So you have a fly bridge which cannot be utilized, you know, 70% of the time. So that's, I think, the kind of difference we're trying to make is really understanding. So I had my Heesen team, you know, some of the design people on my existing yacht for a week just to go, and so they're saying to me, hey, we've been in the galley, hey, we understand that the people are cleaning the yacht even on the navigation. You know, so those kind of things are completely new. So the people building yachts have never, you know, so, and many people owning a shipyard have not used their product, you know, or own a product like that. So I think that's very important to understand the product you are designing and manufacturing, and also how it's being used.
Yeah. I mean, you're a yacht owner as well yourself. I mean, what do you think the industry in general could be doing better?
As an owner, I'm a little bit frustrated with all that blah, blah, blah marketing, and I think we need to, and I think that will happen automatically. We need to be much more data-driven. So data-driven is, you know, if I buy, you know, for example, looking to total cost of ownership. If you buy a yacht, you pay a certain price, you have a certain depreciation. So when you sell it, you know, you have, you know, either a loss or maybe not. And then you have so that's the CapEx part, and you have the OpEx part of the business. So instead of looking, many people are still, you know, many people are telling a lot of stories to yacht owners, you know, which are not true, or the owner doesn't understand it. But at the end of the day, it's all about, you know, your total cost, the total cost of ownership. Then the quality of a boat, now with all we're installing on our new yachts, we all install servers which we get all the data from the yacht we can collect. And then you can really start comparing it with other yachts. So I'm really looking forward to install that also on non-Heesen yachts. So to get a comparison about maintenance costs, operational efficiency, and those kind of things, because I think this market is going to become more data-driven. Because that's the time we're living in, AI, etc. So then a lot of the bullshit which is now being told is going to disappear because the data will learn us that it is completely different, and that data is going to become accessible to owners and to the industry.
So just to expand on that then, you're sort of advocating building like a digital twin of the yacht so you can compare what's going on in real time, is that right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of advantage for the owner and there's a lot of advantage for the shipyard doing this because if you get the data, you can use the data to improve your, so if you see, for example, filters has to be changed every 2 weeks. And maybe if you modify it and you can make it, change it every 2 months, so you have less operational issues. Or you can maybe put a robot in place to change the filter, so you don't need to have an engineer anymore. Those tasks. So I think that's the advantage for so what we're trying to do is having the crew, because there's also a point, a yacht is as good as the crew. So the better crew you have on the boat, the experience is really not, you can build the best boat, but if you have a lousy crew, you still have a lousy experience. So it's better to have a bad boat with a good crew, but also if you build a good boat, you attract good crew because the good crew wants to work on a good boat. So the experience of a boat is about the crew. I think data and automation on board can help that the crew is really working on pleasing, the experience of the client instead of doing cleaning of the boats or technical maintenance or vacuum cleaning and those kind of jobs. So I think what we're looking at is how can we automate that to give a better experience to the client.
Does that kind of extend as well towards the manufacturing so that you could bring build times down as well?
Yeah, I think what I'm learning is you can use automation and AI a lot in the engineering process because I think it's not only the construction of the yachts, but it's already the engineering. So as we all know, AI can help a lot with that. So I think you can use less engineers to do the same task, or you can have engineers. What we are doing is we're going to use some of the engineers to be more focused on the data-driven part of the engineering. Yeah. So.
Okay, one last one from me, and then we'll open it up to questions. What gets you out of bed every morning? I mean, what is your ultimate driver for all this?
That sounds a little bit standard, but being healthy. That's, I think, the most important is to stay healthy in life. And I think then the other part of it is having fun. And having fun is sharing love, sharing experiences, and doing discovery. I think it's also important to develop yourself. So what I'm really, what is really nice being in the yachting, all those people here in the room have much more experience in yachting than I have. So it's nice to learn something. And then you develop your brains, you stay young. So I think that's my ambition.
Fantastic. Does anyone in the room have any questions they'd like to ask Laurens on the microphone, or have we got any on Slido?
There's a woman there.
One over there.
Thank you. With your new focus on 50 to 80 meters, is Heesen going to continue with the semi-customs, or are you, with your more intense connections with clients, are you going to focus more on fully custom yachts?
No, so we continue, as I explained, on the spec boats, because I think that's a very nice business model, and I think also a business model which have proven that Heesen was always profitable in the past. So I don't think we should change that process. I think if you come up, now what we see is the buyers of our spec boats are coming many times late in the process. That's a disadvantage, so they cannot customize a lot, but the advantage for the client is the boat is ready. So an owner, many times he has the money burning in the pocket and he wants to go out, onto the sea immediately and doesn't want to wait for 4 years, before the boat is delivered. So I think with the new designs, the designs I hope will be so appealing that the owners will step in early in the process. But I still think there is a good market for people who just don't want to wait for a yacht and have a beautiful yacht, let's say, being able to experience in a few months or in a year, for example, instead of 3 or 4 years. Is that answering your question?
Any more from the floor? Oh, one over here, Adham.
With all the changes that you're making and new designs, are you having to invest in the shipyard and expand its facilities?
Yes, so we are increasing the sheds of our shipyard because that's also from a manufacturing perspective. If you're launching a model and you get, for example, 2 orders of the same model, you don't want to be restricted by your shed. So we trying, and also in the design process, we trying, for example, 62 meter is a kind of a length which we can handle well in the sheds. But we are increasing the sheds. Yeah, correct. So we are actually working on that. Luckily, the Dutch local community is very willing to support us in that. But it also means investments into the shipyard.
Thank you. Should we just take this one on the screen to get your head around this? Digitalization and exploitation of telemetry. Is the yacht snitching on the crew or the assured? Do you see appetite or dread?
I don't understand this question. Can you help me?
I'm not sure I do. Let's try this. From Eleonora, how about Heesen legacy and a potential fleet heritage program for enthusiastic owners?
Very good point. So we have more than 200 Heesens out there. And so we are all approaching now the existing Heesen owners. So that information was known in the company, but we really didn't use it. So we are approaching proactively the Heesen owners and their captains. Also, we have a good reason now because with the digital, let's say, approach, we can install that also in the existing Heesen yachts. But we want to understand their plans. We want to understand, are you happy with the yacht? What do you like? What you don't like? How is your new yacht going to look like? Can we help you with refits? How do you look to the market? So we are approaching all those, we have identified all those clients, so we are approaching all those clients right now.
Beautiful. Do we have any more in the room? Or yes, we do. Go.
I can do it, yes. It was mentioned that you have your own yacht. Do you use that as a test bed for sort of experience and developments that Heesen then use on their production yachts?
Yes. Yeah, so a lot of experiences of myself as an owner, but also and also try to use friends, which are yacht owners we're bringing in, but also the crew experience, for example. So we were designing a yacht, and then we figured out by coming on my yacht that the freezing capacity, so the amount of freezers we had, was half on the new designs than I had on my existing yacht. So that's something engineers obviously are not so keen on, because that space, which they rather put equipment or rather put cabins, owner spaces in place. So those kind of experiences I think are very relevant. Also, a crew mess space, kitchen galley. So speaking to the chef, asking what do you really require in a galley? What is disturbing you? I think that kind of information is very relevant. So we use that from my existing yacht and the crew into the new designs. So we involve the crew, let's say, and I think that's pretty cool. And they like it. They love to be involved in those processes.
We're overrunning, but I think it's worth it. Let's do this one here. Which is the hardest challenge in leading a large yacht builder?
I think, as we all know, yachting is you sell a few products against a very high price. So the pressure on your cash flow, I think, because that is fluctuating, especially in our model where we build spec boats. So we continue to spend money. So you have the shipbuilders which are obviously building customized boats, so you get your prepayment. So then you have a cash positive operation, which is very appealing. What we do is we put a lot of our money in building, let's say, inventory, and to manage that in a good way, I think that's very relevant. And the other thing is that to keep the quality of your staff, you know, so obviously you're depending on people with know-how, and you need to understand which people really have the relevant know-how. And you know, in any company, you know, the people which are always very loud are not always the best people. So you need to detect the hidden talent into the organization.
Brilliant. Okay, we will leave it there. Lawrence, thank you very much indeed for coming.
No, you're welcome.